speaking of things that work, one of the challenges that we have now, and faithful listeners know that we've always focused on asset protection, right? So when most people think about estate planning, the idea is what happens to my stuff when I'm gone? When I die, where does my stuff go? Right? Um, that's a good question, right? It's a very good question. And one of the challenges to that, and in fact, we'll put the I think we put the link out on our Facebook page. We'll put it on the website as well. NBC just came out, National Broadcasting Company, right? The TV station came out, network came out with a uh, not an expose, but it was very gratifying to see them, mainstream media saying the same things I'm saying. Usually I listen to stuff on the mainstream media and I'm like, oh, that's wrong and that's wrong and that's wrong. Well, they finally came out with something I actually agree with. See, there's an estimated 50 trillion dollars that will be changing hands as the baby boomers, us baby boomers, as we go on to our eternal reward. There'll be about $50 trillion that is going to be changing hands over the next umpty years. And it's not long, okay? And the next generation is counting on that money in a large extent. Um, all kinds of economic and demographic factors, right? But the idea is that how are the millennials going to finally buy a house? How are they finally going to get out of the student debt? How is that going to happen? And the thought has been right along that when the baby boomer generation dies and their stuff goes on to the next generation, that'll resolve a lot of these issues. Okay? That'll resolve a lot of them. And what is happening is what I've said has been happening, which is people are dying broke. There's not a lot of point to doing an estate plan if you don't have anything. And you say, well, that's not me. I got a house, I got IRA, I got some savings. I need to plan to get that to the next generation, which is fine. Okay. But what if there's nothing there? Right? What if your stuff is all gone because you spent it already? And you say to yourself, well, that's full of baloney. I'm not going to spend it all. I know you're not going to spend it all. I know you're not going to spend it all. The government knows you're not going to spend it all on purpose because you want to. In fact, the government, through the Secure Act 1, Secure Act 2, right, has done things to make it easier for you not to spend it. So you don't have to take out required minimum distributions right away, at age 70 and a half. Now you can push it off for another couple of years, and pretty soon it's going to be 75. Before you know it, it'll be age 75. 5 years that you didn't have to take out required minimum distributions. And people are like, ooh, that's great. I didn't want to take them out anyway. I understand. That's an awful lot of our folks didn't want to take the required minimum distributions. Okay, fine. But and you say, well, then it'll be there for the kids. And this is the point of this NBC thing that just came out. No, it won't. It won't be there for the kids. Why won't it be there for the kids? And if it is there for the kids, the government's going to get a huge chunk of it, 40+%. Okay? Why?